all functioning here. Should be. I say this. But again, it's like every time. I never know if everything's working. So welcome, everybody.
That's why I try and help by listening to it.
I know. It's this weird thing of like, I'm never confident I've gotten everything done, even though like, I've done it so much, it's just my brain just like, no. You've made a mistake somewhere. But anyway, welcome everybody. Discussing Tabletop. Of course, it is the 1st of November. We've reached November. It's very nice, very nice, very nice.
It do be November. The year is coming to a close. It's going to start getting colder unless you live in a more southern part of the world, and then you don't really deal with that.
Mm-hmm. We're reaching fake summer.
True, it's gonna be like 60 degrees next week here, and my body already hurts.
Oh, it hit 80 degrees, up, mid to upper 80s this past week for me.
Look, you definitely have different temperatures because you are Southern California. So like,
yes.
I understand your temperatures, but then I'm also like I'm similar ones to Momo. So, though again, opposite side of the state it does matter because you get a lot of the lake effect stuff.
I have several lakes around me that dictate how awful my week is gonna be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
On the flip side, you get hurricane weather, so like, who's really losing?
Yeah, I mean, I do, but it's very rare when it actually is a thing. Most of the time, the hurricane weather is it's just a storm. By the time it gets to me, like 95% of the time.
I only have to deal with earthquakes.
Yeah. That's does happen here, though rarely.
Dude, every time it happens, I'm like, what the hell? Oh,
I mean, we get like at least, well, I feel at least like 3 or 4 a year.
Yeah.
We get a lot more, but they're usually farther away to where I don't feel them.
Like every 5 to 10 years, we have a noticeable one. So it'll be like all of a sudden I'll be like, why is everything shaking? Is a car going by? No, wait a second. I don't hear anything. That's an earthquake.
I think blizzards and severe rain.
Both suck. Blizzards especially. Anyway. Well, I guess we should get started with the topics for today because they're interesting ones.
I'm already seeing the first one.
I was
laughing a little.
So here's where it was. I saw that 2 things happened with the Avatar set. They had a secret layer that starred the cabbage guy. Cool, whatever. I didn't really care too much.
People like that guy, I guess.
There's like jokes and memes about him, and
he started a car company in Korra.
Yeah, and it just seems to be art based on stuff. So it's just art prints, not unique cards. And then like, they're talking about the mechanics, which maybe we'll talk about. But I basically didn't know until earlier this week, and I wanted to discuss it because I was looking into it, and they don't talk about it much, that there are in fact 2 Avatar sets actually coming out.
I'm pretty sure we mentioned that, but yeah.
There is the first set is, okay, so just to let you know, if you look under, I'll put this feature collecting it because it does have in the article, it talks about the 2 different situations. And normally, lately, there has been kind of multiple sets, but usually it's usually different set symbols. It's just a core set, and then they'll have like a set symbol for like the commander stuff, and it may be like 50 to 100 cards at most, because it's the commander cards that are like, some extra reprints, or different things like that. It's not a lot. There is a Avatar The Last Airbender TLA set, which is legal in all formats, and then a Avatar The Last Airbender TLE, Eternal Legal. And it wasn't till a video a little earlier this week by the professor at Olirant College that I learned that the normal one's 281 cards. The Eternal set is 264 cards. That is a full set. That is not like, it's just a commander decks. 264 is a lot.
That is a lot. And also, make the names less confusing.
Yeah, and the thing is, they are specifying that the TLE are only legal in Commander, Legacy, and Vintage. That's important to mention too, because it means what does this consist of? Because like, I'm just so curious. I don't see them doing like the special art prints that they're already going to have a billion versions of in the standard TLA version of it. So it's got to be other cards. Is it going to be mechanically unique cards? What's going on that they have over 500 cards in 2 sets released at the same time?
I don't know, because it's weird. It feels dumb. It feels like a obvious, hey, we just want more money play.
It makes,
at least to me.
yeah, it makes it feel messy, messier, I should say.
It is very messy, because then they need to differentiate the product names better.
Yeah. They say play boosters.
They have Brandon Shaw.
Yeah. And no, here's the big thing is they have play boosters that will contain cards from both.
That's dumb.
They do say if you're playing specifically draft or sealed, you can use both if you're doing those special formats. But if you want to then convert to standard, you have to know that, like, I guess they'll have the different expansion symbols and you will have to separate it out.
This is the most confusing way to release a set.
Yeah, it's also the fact that it's 2 sets released in the same box. That's confusing.
They're in the set. Okay, now I'm just...
Yes, the play boosters have both.
Okay, this is dumb.
Yeah.
Cool, I guess. I mean,
I don't know where to go with it. It just befuddles my mind in many ways.
Look, I mean, I'm gonna be 100%. I wasn't gonna buy this set anyways, but this is just like, don't do this moving forward. It's stupid.
Yeah, I'm looking here. I'm just trying to take a quick look to see if there's like
I'm just happy they have Brandon Shaw. I mean, they were going to, but still, I'm happy.
Yeah. Again, like
those are the 2 dragons, by the way.
Yes, the 2.
I've not seen the show in over 10 years, so thank you for clarifying.
Yes. I
do appreciate it.
It's.
I mean, with my basically autistic brain towards dragons, yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of like I can already see that, like, there are versions of these characters that are definitely only in the legacy version of it. We'll just call it legacy version, because it's really Commander and Legacy, and they are then unique cards to those. I'm looking through here, and I was looking through just white in the card image gallery, and there's a version of Aang and Sokka right there at the top that are in the collector's boosters and the commander's bundle. Here, well, where's some ones? There's beginner box ones that are in that. They haven't shown any that are in the play boosters also, but I guess they've already said some of them are going to be there.
This is such a messy release.
Yeah, it's. I think it's the thing is because they're having. We're seeing this more and more with the releases of set. Each set is also being released in a billion vomit of products, and it's making it more complex and hard to understand where anything is. Because, like, play boosters and collector's boosters, and I'm not gonna lie. As I've kind of learned more and more and thought about it more and more, I'm okay with collector's boosters. I don't like them; they're not a product for me. But I'm okay with them because they are definitely a thing for people that want to pay for it.
Yeah, because like,
it's like
I think it's only an issue when they are like when you hit the Final Fantasy issue of it was literally worth double its weight in silver.
Yeah.
At one point.
Yeah. So there definitely is issues that can be with it, but the concept is fine. When they added that to the repertoire of everything they were throwing out there, I thought that was fine. But there's like just now so many product
Yeah, because
versions they're doing.
you've got play boosters, you've got collector booster, you've got jumpstart, you've got bundles, which I
Scene
still don't know
boxes.
what the hell a
Yeah.
bundle is
I assume the bundles
anymore.
like the Fat Pack, kind of, but also different. Then scene boxes,
Um,
commander bundles, pre-release
so you've got
packs.
this. What the fuck is a scene box?
I don't know. And then also 3 arena-based things. So, okay. And I think it's like, with all the different products in different places, I think that's where it's confusing too. Like, again, I'm not against them having that entire list, but it's sort of like if it made sense what all these different things were, you know. I think that's where I'm kind of confused about it, because you don't know where on this list a card will end up. You have to kind of like look into it and like dive into it, and it's not an easy like these kind of cards are here. It's a
Yeah,
mess. It's just a mess.
it's definitely, I think, the messiest release in Magic,
I feel like they're
at least that I can remember.
yeah, I feel like it's just that
Oh my, okay. The scene box is definitely a new gimmick.
I
okay.
assume it's like we took a scene from Thing and we put character cards with art from that
So
scene.
no, it's worse.
That's okay. Oh no.
So they're borderless cards, which are basically a puzzle that you need to collect, which make a scene.
This is dumb.
See, and apparently they're selling, I guess, multiple scene boxes, because I linked to Amazon where it's scene box 1, the Black Sun Invasion, 6
I
borderless
saw
scene
there were
cards,
Final
6 art
Fantasy
cards,
ones of these that sold out like immediately.
3 play boosters, and a display easel, which is just a piece of cardboard you could put your cards on to display them.
This is I hate that, one, this is dumb. 2, I hate that this is gonna sell.
It is definitely going to sell. It is $42. Like,
People are gonna eat this up, and I hate it.
I mean, at least it has the 3 play boosters. Like, here's the thing: they've done stuff like this in the past, but normally they had value. Usually, I think that's the thing too. Is these are new cards, or like, you know, like, I guess cards of unique scenes. I don't know. Like this one, they're like the one that they showed off in
Again,
white was
so basically it's 6 cards. I don't know if like, yeah, so 6. Oh, okay, so there are 6 cards, which make basically the scene on the box, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah. I'm just I don't know what to say about it. I think that's the kind of thing. It is just a mess. It's everything is a mess about this.
This reminds me of like and it doesn't really happen as much anymore, but in like the 2010s, when you would go to buy a video game and you had like EA and Ubisoft
Okay, it
were
does sound like
particularly
you just get all of the cards.
EA and Ubisoft are particularly bad about this, where you would have the giant charts of here's the version of the product and what you get with it. This feels like Magic is becoming that.
Yeah. Like, because if I take a step back and I did look through the mechanics that they have for the set, and I thought they were fine. They were interesting. Since this was originally kind of why I was kind of might be what I was looking to talk about. Firebending gives you mana to use during combat that lasts for the entire event. That's cool. Airbending basically allows you to kind of exile it and recast it, which is kind of a different version of it, because you could do that on your own or do that to someone else's. Waterbending allows you to kind of gives you a cost to do an ability, and you can tap artifacts and creatures to help for that. And then Earthbending makes lands creatures. All these are neat abilities. I mean, that's the kind of thing I can say about it. That's it.
Fine, Earthbending kind of broken.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. The rest is just, you know, stuff that's been out there but kind of combined together in different ways. But yeah, I feel like they're just making all these universes beyond more and more messy cash grabs, and I'm not a fan of it because again,
It's
like
because they paid for the license. I assume they paid for the license to some degree. So
Yes.
they need to guarantee a profit return.
it's the thing of like, I understand that, but the raised price plus actually like doing pretty decent sets and pretty interesting sets, I thought would sell these things. Maybe it's because they're worried about things like Spider-Man or, you know,
I think because I don't know if
others.
we have the numbers for Spider-Man yet. We probably don't. I do have a feeling Spider-Man deeply underperformed.
I think it did and didn't.
I feel like because it definitely had very bad reception
Oh
to
yeah,
the community online, but the online community is such a small portion.
apparently
So I
from what
don't
I've
know.
heard, a lot of like reviews and stuff, and when they had a big event, and they were like asking people about it, like it has reviewed at major events badly too. Um, so the thing that I think someone said is they most likely made their money because what we don't think about is, and this may not happen for Avatar, it may or may not, the scalpers, same people that were there for Final Fantasy, probably took a step in during Spider-Man. Spider-Man wasn't successful in the same way Final Fantasy was, so the scalpers may or may not have gotten their money back, but they probably did the same.
I also think what's going on is because Hasbro is a public company. At least last time I checked, they didn't go
It is.
private. The numbers from Final Fantasy were obviously very like touted in the media, how much they sold. So I feel like there is a pressure of shareholders being like, "Oh, this made all of the money, so these need to make even more."
Yes.
Yeah. It's one of those things that I think like companies are very bad, especially when they have shareholders, to be like, hey, we did something, and like you should, as a country, recognize when you've done something that is a fluke. It's like, hey, we've done a fluke here. We can try to replicate it, but it might be a challenge. Just, we'll try our best to do that. Like, you can tout to them and be like, hey, we're going to be working towards doing this, but we're not going to do anything crazy that could result in you losing money while we try to explore how we did this. This is like a way you can say it, but they don't say that. They're like, we can do that again. They're overconfident about that, and I think they tout that they can just do the same thing, and they can't a lot of times. It's sort of like you can't do another Baldur's Gate 3. I don't think any of the universes beyond at this point in time can replicate Final Fantasy, any of the ones we've seen.
No, because it was the perfect storm of like two very big. I know Avatar is popular. It's not. It's still relatively niche. It's still not like a big thing outside of the Western world. Final Fantasy is a global IP.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think you can replicate it ever. What because you don't have the pool. You don't have the
Yep.
Final Fantasy. You don't have a large enough community behind it that isn't the Magic community.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, you might get it with Marvel, but I don't think you will get it with Avatar.
Yeah. Like Spider-Man was too specific. I don't like. I think Ninja Turtles might be end up like Spider-Man.
Ninja Turtles might get the nostalgia.
It might. If it's a better design set, I think it would go better than
From what
Spider-Man.
I've seen, it actually looks better design, but Spider-Man also went from like what 100 cards to more.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's like also like they got like Star Trek coming up. Like I get like okay, and The Hobbit. The Hobbit, that's the only one I'm like okay.
The
yeah,
Hobbit has pool, but I don't think it has like a lot of pool, and I also don't know how big of a set it's gonna be because The Hobbit doesn't have a lot of characters in it.
I think someone said it best is that might be a place for certain things from Lord of the Rings to get reprints too. That
True.
could help on that end.
Could definitely reprint the One Ring and make it less egregiously bad.
Yeah, the One Ring would be there, and that's the
Bilbo
thing.
has it.
So they could reprint it very easily. Yeah, it's just I don't
Let me
know
pull up the release schedule.
what the 7 sets next year.
Because I haven't looked at this since it got announced.
Yeah, it's I think it's gonna be Lorwyn.
We have
No, the universes within are Lorwyn, Strixhaven,
it's Lorwyn,
and
Strixhaven, and whatever Reality Fracture is.
yeah, and then we got Ninja Turtles, Hobbit, Marvel,
More Marvel.
and then Star Trek at the end of the year.
Yeah. I think Ninja Turtles has pull. I think they'll do okay sell wise, and it might like if these don't do as well as Final Fantasy, it might actually be like, oh, okay, maybe we should do like less of these because we didn't make as much money.
I I think it's what's good. There will be a lesson to be learned, and I think it's just going to be like we're gonna have to, as people that like the game, suffer through it until that lesson.
I also can't be like these are dumb when fully. I will say this with all honesty. If that previously unannounced Universes Beyond set was like a 40K set, I would have been all for it.
Yeah, like, and that's the thing is like, when you tell me we're gonna do Avatar cards, I'm like, okay, cool. I can see that kind of being
It
Magic
still
adjacent.
fits. It's tangent. Yeah. It's like it's themed well enough to be fantasy.
Yeah, and
Star Trek kind of a pool because we do already have our Star Trek at home in Magic.
They did their magical Star Trek, so that's kind of like I guess so.
As soon as Edge of Eternities came out, and they were like, "Oh, it's gonna have spacecraft," I'm like, they're gonna do a Star Trek set. That's why they're doing this.
Because they were doing Marvel, I was thinking Star Wars. Honestly,
I don't know because Star Wars has like I think its own really popular physical TCG.
I guess that's true. Because Final
if
Fantasy
Disney would be like here, because Final Fantasy has a trading card game, but it's not popular outside of Japan.
Yeah, so I guess that's why they did this. And then like Marvel has.
I think Final Fantasy actually has several.
Yeah, Marvel's got its like mobile
Marvel has a
TCG
lot
kind of thingy.
Yeah, Marvel's mostly in the digital side. Lord of the Rings, I think, still has one.
Yeah, I don't know. And the comment from chat, I don't see anime going that direction. And
I could see a like series of secret layers of classic anime.
I could see that. Yeah,
I could see it in secret.
I couldn't
too.
see
Yeah,
like here's the anime set or here's like as cool as Dragon Ball would be, and it would be cool. I don't think it thematically does mesh well into the gameplay style of Magic.
It's the thing of like Final Fantasy, because it's both in Japan and in US, like as like very big markets. That's why like I can see Wizards connecting with them, and not that there isn't popularities between
because Wizards is trying to grow their brands in Japan very aggressively.
Yeah, D&D's just not working there. It's unfortunate.
No, D&D is not landing because it's going into a market that already is saturated with very good tabletop games.
Yeah, the ones that they
just don't happen to leave that region.
Again, it was TSR first, and I think I can't remember. There was some things that Wizards did when they first got D&D that also screwed it up. So they had two opportunities previously. So now that they can't grow in there, well, you screwed it up twice. Granted, it's one actually TSR.
It's very hard to, as a Western developer, it's very hard to get a foothold in Japan.
Yeah, I mean the system based on Record of Lotus War basically is D&D, and they made their own because TSR and. Not you couldn't have competed with stuff like that. It's just they just happened. But it's a messy market.
I mean, there's a thing where Japan is pretty nationalistic, so
yeah.
A lot of like it's always the thing of the Japanese companies specifically make for the Japanese market. They just export to the rest of the world.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not that they don't have a little bit of a foothold, because sort of like yes, Magic isn't as big over there, but Magic does have some popularity over there. It's not completely gone, it's just like when we talk about Magic here, we talk about like Magic, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh are always going to be what sometimes fluctuating in that kind of like top 5 card games.
It's the big 3,
and other things can kind of pop in there and maybe sometimes challenge them briefly, but never really knocks any 3 of them off. But like in that, I would say like you could probably have Magic within the top 20, maybe sometimes top 10 over there, but like again, I probably think that fluctuates more. Probably depending on
like
what's going on.
It's hard to say because we don't get a big look into the Japanese market in the Western world very often until something like the Gundam TCG comes over, which I think didn't do very well in North America.
Yeah, I don't know. It's sort of like
I know the One Piece trading card game is kind of a thing.
it's got enough
I mean,
popularity.
if they really want to break into the Japanese market with something kind of more American, they should definitely do a King of the Hill set.
Honestly, I'm surprised there's not been a King of the Hill Secret Lair.
At this point in time, I
Soul Ring's just a propane grill.
After we got like the Office Secret Lair, I can see anything at this point in time.
Look,
Like,
I would run Hank Hill in a deck because it would be funny, and also because King of the Hill is one of the best TV shows ever made.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
need to sit down and watch it at some point. Like
I've
seen a ton of episodes, but I've never like watched it.
I don't want to say reboot, but like the continuation is actually really good.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. They did a good job of, because it is basically like it is the same series, but like, you know, because they've had that break.
It's literally just they took in universe, time skipped, and then just continued the story.
Yeah. So
the story in quotations, because it was obviously a story of the week show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So at least I think
they did have like character growth in a way.
Yes,
yeah.
They had development, so that's why like I think it goes better to this, because sort of like I think that's the good mindset for a lot of these story of the week things. As long as there's still a minor development in the background that continues throughout it, I think it can kind of work, because it kind of be subtle anyway. But
in relation back to Magic, have you seen some of the like I guess like the screen captured steel cards for Avatar?
No.
They're not the best quality, but I'm gonna post one in the Discord that every time I see it makes me laugh so hard. This is a real card, by the way. It's in the set.
I'm opening my Discord on my phone.
It's so bad. I don't even know who this character is and why. I don't know if he's important enough for a card.
That's the card.
Dude, that's a real
card
card.
on my
It's
phone.
so funny.
I was give me 2 seconds and I'll bring it.
The only thing it makes me think
it's
of,
like such a bad design.
like, it's just a face. Yeah, thank you.
It's just whoever that guy is, just really zoomed in.
Like it's so zoomed in, it's hard to tell.
I don't. This could be like, to me as someone who has not seen the show in over a decade, this could be like any character from the second season, where they're in the Earth Kingdom.
Even someone from the Earth Kingdom,
I don't know. It could be from when they're in the Fire Nation.
I mean, yeah, I was thinking
I don't
he was a
know.
Fire Nation person.
It just looks like a dude.
There was a couple of thoughts I had, and none of them I could answer, is what I said. I thought it was like, maybe it was like when it was like the kind of like evil-ish guy in the Earth Kingdom with his secret police, you know, or maybe it's a Fire Lord guy, a firebender guy. I don't know. You know, it is pretty bad, pretty damn bad.
Yeah, it's not great.
We should
Honestly,
move on.
You know what? I'll just say one last thing. Wizards, I will forgive you if you just make a Metal Gear Solid set. Get that one in the works. I'll forgive you. I want to just play like the Lolly Luli Low in Magic, because it'd be really funny.
God. It is fanciful enough in a lot of ways. I'm not going to...
Bro, it's something.
Something. Let's
just like my Japanese anime.
Goddamn. It hurts every time I see that. Now they see people replay that. It's like, God, this was bad back when this was put out. This was like,
I watched
so bad even then.
I watched a playthrough of Metal Gear Solid 3 and I forgot about the meow.
It's right.
That Ocelot does.
Fucking Ocelot is meow.
It's a very serious gaming franchise.
No.
They'll do that, and then they'll talk about why war is bad.
They really will. So there's some more subclasses from Unearthed Arcana. At this point in time,
Ooh.
I don't know where they're going to put all these. Like they keep going in a lot of different
I don't
directions.
know. They'll find a book for them.
So these are updated older ones, which I guess is good or bad. I don't know. Like it's
All right.
spiritual guardian.
I already hate these because they changed the name of Drunken Master.
Yes, Warrior of Intoxication. It's the Drunken Master.
It's Drunken Master. You just changing the name is very
Why is
disrespectful to Jackie Chan.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say that,
Okay.
but I was thinking that.
I do want to say I was looking for to see if I could figure out who the cruel tutor was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
With that said, though, I never saw any definitive answers. All I saw is 50 million people talking about how terrible it was.
Dude, it's so bad.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I have played a lot, if any of these subclasses. Or
I have
anybody playing them.
played a Storm Herald Barbarian, which
Okay.
is
Yeah, I know someone who played a Storm Herald.
spoilers. It's Barbarian. That's how it plays identically.
Mhm.
And Oathbreaker getting added as an actual subclass is kind of cool.
Okay.
Because fun fact, it's in the DMG, so actually it's not really meant to be played.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, the original one. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
meant to be for someone who's broken an oath.
It's a
paladin who's
punishment,
broken an oath.
or you give this to a villain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Cavalier, you played, which was quite strong. So was Badger, I think. I've played Drunken Master Monk. It's actually my favorite monk subclass.
Forgot about Badger until just now. Thanks, Badger. I love your character, but I forgot about you.
The Drunken Master is actually my favorite monk subclass. So
yeah. So I'm glad you're back, but here's the thing, they are remakes of them. I'm just gonna try to take a quick look here to see if they're doing some things to scale with rage damage. Okay, that's cool. They've switched out a few features. I don't know if the new ones are better than the old ones.
reading Cavalier, it feels like the mount actually gets abilities now, rather than before where you didn't even need the mount to be a Cavalier fighter.
Okay. The Unwavering Mark no longer has limited uses. Yeah. I guess having the animal be better is good. Having your mount do stuff.
Okay, Cruel Tutor is Fire Lord Ozai, who's Zuko's father.
It is
That's
him. I thought it could have been him.
I thought
That's
it was
dumb.
Fire. I thought it was Fire Nation.
But it's so fucking zoomed in.
It's so zoomed in that it could have been anyone.
That's the thing is,
Yep.
I was like, is it that's what I was thinking. Is it could have been I was thinking the guy from Earth Kingdom or Fire Lord Ozai, but I was like, but it could be anybody because I can't tell. I just can't tell.
Yeah.
I didn't have confidence.
They definitely shouldn't have zoomed it in that far.
Yeah.
It is zoomed in just too much. Maybe I don't know if that zoom in is obviously it is a shot from the show, but you could have probably just picked one where it's his torso and his face.
Yeah. So just to keep the train going on the Unearthed Arcana, these are just updates to older classes. It looks like
yeah, Oathbreaker looks like it actually works for players now, which is good.
Yeah.
Because before, if a player would take it and you had your Aura of Hate, it was just well, everything gets it.
Ha. Well.
Yeah, it wasn't meant to be for players, but that immediately made every player want to play it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Baldur's Gate 3, I feel popularized Oathbreaker because it is the best paladin subclass in the game.
Yeah. I guess they've also made this that you could be on you're an Oathbreaker paladin and you're on some kind of greater quest to atone for some kind of horrific evil
or you're just
you've
evil.
done.
Or you're just evil.
Yeah. You could just be evil too.
You're just kind of a dick.
But I think they've also given an option to play an Oathbreaker as a player. too. That
I mean,
would
if it's
still
like
work.
if being a paladin in D&D is anything like Baldur's Gate 3, you could just step on some grass and lose your goddamn oath.
Yes. God. Yeah. I guess they gave the drunken master. I'm just gonna call it drunken master. A new feature that allows it to
The new
make
name's
drinks with
dumb.
special effects, and they've replaced the drunk luck, which is more brew options. Okay, so
It's
yeah,
fine, I guess.
I don't remember the old one was, but I guess it's an idea that you have like special brews that give you stuff. Neat. Again,
Kind of like a mini alchemist. That's kind of cool.
yeah,
Much less like the fantastic film Drunken Master.
yes, it actually
My favorite Jackie Chan movie.
It's been a very long time since I've seen that, so I could not. Unfortunately, it's one of those things is I can't put it in comparison to a lot of other Jackie Chan movies because I haven't seen them in a very long time.
It's definitely not the best one, but it is my favorite.
Yes, there are some good ones. I think I just want to keep this simple and say like, hey, if you want to check out these
Cool.
updated subclasses, if you use any of them and you want to maybe, if you've been using either 2024 or as a lot of people kind of been trying to do, maybe do something hybridized, this might be an opportunity to bring something into your hybridized form or your 2024 for, not having to worry about things that aren't quite into 2014. More options that we've already had and are coming back. It just makes me think of like, when we have to have these updates, it tells us that when they were like, oh, these are totally compatible, they only kind of are. They really
Well,
needed these updates.
it does say in the front of the book, it's like kind of compatible. But
They
like,
actually kind of, if you look at the actual book, they kind of rescind it. A
yeah, they
little
kind
bit.
of like,
they
hey,
said-
it like kind of works.
I mean, I remember that they did that eventually, but I'm kind of joking how, like,
'Cause
they...
Lightning is playing a
Yeah,
Sun
when they
Soul
originally-
monk in my 2024 game, and we've had to definitely make it a lot more stronger.
Yeah, I mean, it really is that, like, they advertised that it was going to be completely backwards compatible, like, basically the entire launch. And then, like, when you actually get the book, it's, like, one page that basically says, about how to do backwards compatibility. It's like, you probably shouldn't, but you could.
Yeah, it recommends forward compatibility, but you definitely can't take any of the new stuff and go backwards.
No.
Yep. Yeah.
So, it's very nice that we've gotten these 5 back in there. I think that's the thing that I've been very happy about is at very least we're once again getting a lot of Unearthed Arcana, which are giving a lot of good kind of ideas kind of thrown out there.
Yeah.
So,
I was just trying to see if that worked. I get so tired of my camera not working, so I was just going to turn it off and on real fast, see if that helped.
gotcha.
Anyway.
All right. Hey, Starfinder and Warframe are having a tabletop collab. We may have talked about this before. It sounded familiar, but at very least they're coming out like now. So it's featuring characters from Warframe 1999, which I don't know what that is.
Okay, so let me explain.
Yeah.
I play Warframe. So basically, Warframe has works on. Okay, there's a lot of time travel in Warframe.
Yes,
and
that
some
is
of the
one
more
thing I remember
recent-
from my time playing it.
And there is some and like because their whole game is based around the time travel concept of eternalism, where everything's always happening all at once.
Yep.
And so like every branch exists at any point. You can kind of jump back and forth. Anyway, the whole point is that there are some evil things that went into the past, and so they found a way to like go back into the past. I actually still need to play that plot line. I haven't done
I've heard
it yet.
it's actually like pretty good.
Yeah, I have too. I played the plotline before it, so I know that we need to follow the people back in time, but I haven't played
I haven't played Warframe in probably like 3 years. And I'm like, every time I'm like, I should go back to this one. I don't want to go back to this.
I played it, yeah. I mean, I've played it on and off over the past few years, but recently it's been a lot less. So I need to go through and I want to get back into it.
So I mean, like,
I actually want to run this because it sounds like fun.
Because, yeah, Warframe, it is kind of like you got kind of mecha bodysuits. Is that what I kind of always assumed it is? Like,
It's complicated.
it's
Yeah,
complicated.
the short answer is complicated. The long answer, well, a slightly less long answer that might still work is basically you're like a child super soldier who basically possesses bioweapons made from people.
Yeah,
Gotcha. Okay.
it's complicated.
That's complicated, and just briefly seeing people play it doesn't tell you any of that crap. Gotcha.
No.
In fact, you have to get. I think at this point, I would argue about probably a third of the way through the game
Yeah.
to even find
It's like
out that you have a character.
It's like a commitment.
Yeah.
If you start playing Warframe now, it's like this is your forever game.
I've heard tales.
Oh yeah, no.
You ain't gotta have time for anything else.
So yeah, like I think with Starfinder that this kind of thing can work out pretty well. So it's a very interesting crossover with them. They link into the various places there too. So this is Starfinder 2nd edition. Cool, thumbs up. And yeah, so it's got a little adventure. You can get the PDF, you get the print version. They're selling apparently a set of dice. So if you want some like Warframe times Starfinder dice, you get those. So
I mean, they're pretty. It's pretty dice. They're $40.
I kind
Dice
of want
are
to get this book
expensive.
just to see how they made the Warframes in.
I
Good
assume
dice
Starfinder.
are expensive.
I assume they're going to be kind of like their own ancestry, with probably like ancestry feats to represent the various different things. And maybe like you would have like if you were in quotation a rare frame, you might have like rare feats or something like that, and they have the uncommons kind of side of things. And you could do something like that.
This
Well,
brings us...
they're doing four of the pre-made proto frames. So
Yeah.
Arthur, Letty, and Armir.
So I assume that they are doing those almost as characters then.
Look, this brings us one step closer to the true collaboration that Paizo needs, and that's Armored Core.
I'm not going to lie, I wouldn't be against that or any kind of thing, because like as much as I do, I am always a stickler. Not that I watch as much of it anymore, but I always did like good giant mech, any kind of thing. So giant robots are cool. I like a good giant robot.
Look, you just become a human plus, and then that's your character. Judge, you don't want to be one of those.
So that's out now. The Starfinders types Warframe collaboration. With 300 hours, yes, you did pick up time travel.
Look, it's a lot like
Game.
trying to understand what happens in a Final Fantasy game.
That's true. There is always going to be like, what happened here? Or
suddenly you're a cool fantasy guy, and then you're just in the modern future, and that's an actual just normal car.
So I will say the whole time travel thing only took a front seat in the past, I want to say 3 years.
Okay.
Like it was mentioned before, but it wasn't like a whole thing. They leaned super hard into it a few years ago.
So like, well, we had it kind of, but now we're really ramping it up. Enjoy time travel.
Yeah, I mean, literally. I mean, I mentioned you're a child soldier, but you can also be an adult because basically, there's a whole thing where the child soldier, who's basically your character, doesn't basically is supposed to be the one basically gifted survival by a crazy weird entity, but the thing is that like there was one version of him which survived naturally, and that was who became an adult.
It's just Metal Gear Solid.
I'm not gonna lie.
It's just the plot of Metal Gear Solid.
There was a portion of that like my brain kind of glazed out for a little bit, maybe because it's so complex.
Look, I had to hold back because it's a reference only people who played Metal Gear Solid 5 will get. I did almost say Warframe guest starring child soldier. Which, if you don't know, is a loading screen in Metal Gear Solid 5 where it says guest starring child soldier.
That's like the one Metal Gear I did not play. 5.
It's a pretty okay game.
That's good at least. I'll take pretty okay.
You get a cool upgrade for your dog where instead of, the logic of, oh, you just train it to do combat better, you give it a combat knife it holds in its mouth.
I can't take that serious because back, when I was still playing 3.5, I did a silly game with people, and we did a gang fight between two of our players, the other two players, and my gang recruited Bubbles, the ill-tempered border collie, with a knife in his mouth, so that the dog was stabbing people with a knife. That was a thing we did.
Yeah, all the upgrade does is it lessens the time of D-Dog's pounce, because instead of pouncing the guy, he just jumps on the dude's shoulders and cuts his throat with a knife.
It's just they stole Bubbles. He's ill-tempered.
Don't ever tell me Kojima isn't good at writing.
Oh, God. I just find that hilarious.
When's Kojima going to make a tabletop RPG?
Some point. That might be a thing. Don't tempt him. Don't tempt the man. So, we got Vin Diesel, The Way of Critical Role, and Daggerheart. Why?
This man loves tabletop RPGs.
Well, we got this because they're playtesting The Blood Hunter, which, until I read this, I had forgotten because I remembered this happened. The D&D Vin Diesel one-shot on Geek and Sundry decades ago at this time.
He played a Blood Hunter.
They had Blood Hunter. They're bringing it back now to Daggerheart.
Maybe it'll work better. It's certainly not very good in D&D.
That's why I'm like... Again, this is just such a fascinating story that I'm like, that's so stupid and wonderful. I love it. Got some blood magic. Thanks, Vin Diesel.
Yeah, dude, Vin Diesel loves D&D. It's the weirdest thing to think about just because of how he looks in the movies he's in.
He is a comical version of himself and exists, and I do not mind his existence.
I imagine he was a little upset he didn't get cast in a D&D movie.
But
maybe he'll be in the sequel if it ever happens.
So this is a playtest that's going to be going on. It started up now, so you can go check it out if you are doing some Daggerheart and you want to try out their version of this Blood Hunter.
Probably works better.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, and like the kind of concepts behind the basic idea of the character feels like it might work better in the system as I've dipped my toe into when it talks about
definitely using HP as a resource definitely works a bit better in Daggerheart.
Yeah. Again, this is me like getting a toe dip and learning some of the basics of the system without really getting deep into it. So sort of like I would understand people that have dove deeper into it might have their opinions whether, but again, I'm sure because they've refined it and put it out here as a playtest, they have, ideas on how to make it work. So,
it's basically a Witcher.
Yeah. And fun thing is, if you really still wanted to play the D&D Beyond version, they link it there.
Yeah, it's still there. I don't think it's been updated for 2024.
I'm sure it has.
Pretty sure Matt Mercer doesn't care about making like D&D content anymore.
Yeah,
for like books and stuff.
That's fair.
He's got other stuff he's got to write for.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm pretty set on like if I ever run like D&D, I'm probably gonna do like A5E or like what's it called? Tales of the Valiant. There we go.
I could see Tales of the Valiant might be a good suggestion. Because I was thinking about, like, there were some things that I had planned out that would have been more, like, kind of Forgotten Realms related and stuff like that, that might be, like, for, like, short campaigns. Like, short, like, 2-3 session games and kind of stuff, like small adventures.
Yeah.
So
if you don't want to completely redesign the system yourself like Momo does, I would definitely recommend Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition.
Do something where someone else has already done the work.
Yeah, that might be a good idea at this point in time, because like I it's been on my back of my mind because that was something that I always was talking about doing, and I'm doing some work.
Tales of the Valiant honestly is fine. I honestly don't think it's as good. Like, it feels rushed. I'm gonna be honest. Like, Kobold Press put it out just to get something out so that they could start to support.
Yeah,
Because they didn't want to trust their stuff to D&D anymore.
makes sense.
So there's definitely some issues, but otherwise, but as far as Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 5th Edition, is very good.
I see,
Level
honestly,
up Advanced.
Tales of the Valiant probably getting a second edition within a couple of years. Like most new systems, they usually, in the first couple of years, get a new edition. It's sort of like you get a game out, and then you need to work on it.
The Alien RPG's getting a second edition soon. I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
But Level Up Advanced 5th Edition is basically designed to be 5th Edition, but refined. And it was done by a much bigger studio. I think it was done by, who's it? Let me look this up and I'll get back to you.
Yeah. But, so, certainly speaking, I think this is neat, that they're kind of drawing back on, Matt Mercer and his company are drawing back on the stuff he's worked on before for some things, for D&D and stuff, and bringing it, 2 versions of it. As they had, this is the thing that Matt Mercer created, the Blood Hunter, and they're bringing it to...
Ian Publishing.
So, I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, Level Up Advanced 5th Edition is Ian Publishing.
Neat. So, Star Trek has maybe a challenger in the sci-fi exploration RPGs. We'll see, It's a Astracordis. I said it correctly, and I was worried I wasn't going to. So this, I'm giving the Kickstarter here a link. Hasn't been funded yet, but again, it's pretty decently on the way there with 27 days to go, so it's had a good jump up there. But it is basically a sci-fi RPG, which is based on space exploration, research, diplomacy, and science. Star Trek stuff.
Neat.
Yeah. So I did a little bit of looking through here. I guess it's kind of probably trying to do the same kind of concept of a sci-fi adventure without the world baggage that Star Trek has. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because there is that entire thing. If you're playing in a Star Trek game, you're in a Star Trek universe, you have to deal with all the Star Trek things. And that's not necessarily bad, but it does define types of games, and you can have exploration kind of games in other sci-fi kind of settings and stuff like that. So kind of breaking it down and having another unique thing is good too, and kind of puts towards directions of other various kinds of sci-fi directions in this, because the entire idea of exploration sci-fi games or sci-fi things are interesting. They use
Oh, sorry. You go first.
I was just gonna say the dice they use are D8s, D10s, D12s too, which is funky.
Yeah. My thought on this is I do like system agnostic sci-fi. Gosh, tongue. Because there actually is very little of it. Star Wars, Star Trek, and then there's a lot that Starfinder. Everything's very tied to a world or an idea.
Yeah.
Whereas, there's only 3, or sorry, mostly 2 that I know of. There's some older ones as well, but the 2 ones that have kept up to date and are modern are Traveler, which still has a world.
Yeah.
Sorry, not system agnostic, world agnostic, setting agnostic.
Yeah,
I said the wrong thing.
This seems to have
and Stars Without Number.
Yeah. This has a world, but it's not the forefront of what's important about it. That's the kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of those things is when I look at this, I can say, oh, maybe, yes, you might have to do work, but it giving you in a direction that might be used for more agnostic, where it's kind of it is kind of hard to remove the Star Trek from the Star Trek RPG or Star Wars from Star Wars RPGs. They're very ingrained in. So when we talk about more sci-fi agnostic systems, it is a little harder to do, especially more exploration based. Honestly speaking, you could probably do sci-fi agnostic for Starfinder, especially second edition, but I'm going to tell you now, you're probably going to have more an adventure-y kind of combat-y kind of game, because it's a Pathfinder 2e / Starfinder 2e game.
Yeah. So here's
it's a style.
Yeah, again, like you can do setting agnostic for Pathfinder and Starfinder. The issue with Starfinder is it's not a sci-fi setting; it's a science fantasy setting.
Yeah, that's true too. Um, yeah.
Which is fine.
Yep.
Also, it's there's also I also do like non-level based systems. I mean, I don't know if this has levels, but
can't tell because they don't say too much there. I think this one it sounds like a lot of the system and setup are the most important. They do have a basic setting, which again most RPGs, even ones that are a little bit more agnostic, will have a basic setting. I'm not gonna lie. Bessem, which is the generic anime game, it's got its own setting in the back of the book that you could technically use. And otherwise it is fairly much so. You want to do an anime, play Bessem kind of style game. I think the main thing is like the alien species / humans and stuff like that are more defined, and I guess depending on their abilities and stuff might define that a lot more and kind of scream whether or not that part of it. That's the one that I'm saying like that might determine how you could use something like this in other kind of settings and stuff like that, or how much you're drawn to it. I'm not sure at this point in time.
One thing I want to shout out about this specifically is I have not seen tabletop RPGs do this much. They have what is called the Access Terminal, which is an official app for running games.
Yeah.
So this comes with a baked-in VTT.
It does, and it is up on Steam right now.
Yep, Steam or a mobile.
Yep. So that's good.
Yep.
Thumbs up. So if you want to try something a little different,
I want to just shout out more as a me thing. The one picture they have for the rule designer test render is a very good reference to both Space Battleship Yamata and Cowboy Bebop.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Now, I went down to that and looked at that test render.
Yeah, hopefully it gets backed. It's not how far into it.
They got 27 days left, and they're about, I'd say 2/3 way done.
So yeah, the 3 days into it, it's probably gonna get backed.
Yeah, I'll probably back it.
I actually just backed
it. If anything, because and I want sci-fi developers, please do this more. Please use retrofuturism more.
Yeah,
it is one of the best sci-fi designs.
It is. Retrofuturism is very fun.
I've been absolutely obsessed with it since I watched Alien.
Yeah,
Alien's a good job of doing that.
I'm definitely not in the camp that it's the best. I definitely like my shiny sci-fi, but
I'm a big fan I'm a huge fan of retrofuturism and a huge fan of atom punk.
I like it when I like all kinds of sci-fi too, but I think it's when it makes sense in the world too. I like Star Wars in a lot of its designs because the entire world feels like a very everything is a little grungy dirty. It's a world that feels grungy dirty. While in Star Trek, I love Star Trek's design because in Star Trek it's a very prim proper. We're in this kind of more what's the word I want to look for? Hopeful
utopia society. Although,
so everything feels a little cleaner and well maintained.
Depending on the modern show, maybe not. Picard. The reason I didn't watch Picard.
Picard did stuff.
Picard did a lot of bad stuff.
Picard's the one series I point at that I'm from getting descriptions after watching most of the first season and not being happy with it, and then going and just reading some summaries. I feel like they ended well, but they went through a lot of crap that I just didn't like to get there. Sort of the third season sounds like the only one that I would have been oh, that's neat, but it's also
it's the Star Trek Discovery issue where I just don't care.
Yeah, Discovery took forever, and at least Brave New World's pretty good from what I've heard.
True.
Thumbs up on that one. So yes, so Astracordis, if you're interested in it, check it out. I'll link it there. Okay, we got a little bit of Warhammer, and I wanted to talk about this because this is neat. Wrath and Glory is bringing us the Space Wolves.
Hey, who doesn't love the Space Wolves?
So now in your...
I guess if you're a Thousand Suns fan, you probably don't like the Space Wolves.
I know of them more than anything, but like I could not tell you the difference was. Like this one is like, oh, it's
Right.
Lehman Russ, it's the Space Wolves,
It's Russ.
it's the Vikings who make
Yep.
like super deadly poison to get drunk on, and that's all I really know about them. Also, like wolf
Russ,
stuff.
they're like the big thing about them is they have the outward appearance of barbarians, but they are actually the inverse of that. They're actually quite chivalrous and kind to people. Whereas you have the Dark Angels, which are this outwardly chivalry knights who are actually on the inside very barbaric and brutal.
This makes it interesting to think about, though, too. That, like, almost because of how much depth there is on these, if we're talking about playing, like, a different Space Marine factions in Wrath and Glory, they almost need their own books.
I think you could do a couple of them, but you do get to the point where a lot of the legions, because there are 18 of them, are quite similar.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's sort of like there's a level that maybe... That's what I'm interested in, I guess.
Wrath and Glory, they went and made their own Space Marine chapter. Which, lore-wise, a Legion is the 30k term, chapter is the 40k term.
Okay.
It's used very interchangeably because obviously in 30k the Space Wolves are a Legion, but in 40k the Space Wolves are a chapter, so it's like, who cares?
Yeah. Interesting. So this does seem to be made for the 40k Wrath and Glory roleplay, but I'm guessing you could still theoretically use it as Legion.
You can certainly use the lore from it.
But like, I'm looking at it and they do list a bunch of stuff that is very much for them. Is that enough to make it, as you're kind of saying here, Space Marine's a Space Marine is a Space Marine in a lot of ways? So
I think doing
books.
Space Wolves as their own book is probably one of the better ideas because they're a very unique chapter in how they name stuff and how they act.
Okay.
But like, if you're gonna do them, an Ultramarine is a base, like an Iron. God, I always confuse it. The yellow guys with the fist symbol, Imperial Fist, pretty much identical to the Ultramarines.
Okay, so like there are certain groups of them where you can kind of lump them together, and there are a few like chapters that would be more unique, and Space Wolves are one of them. So this is like one of those ones that we can point out and be like, that probably is okay.
Like Space Wolves would be good, Salamanders would be good because they're very unique in how they operate. I could even make an argument for like the Iron Fists or what Imperial Fists to get their own book, but I'm a little bit sour on them at the moment because I did subject myself to War of the Beast, which is horrible.
And like, I'm not gonna lie, it's $35 for a physical book that includes a PDF. That's not terrible. So
that's about average what they charge for these. It looks like a pretty big book.
Yeah, it's a decent sized book for not a bad price for something that, you know, I guess as if your favorites, you know, the Space Wolves.
Space Wolves are very popular, so it makes sense they would do them first if they are going to do a line of Space Marine books.
You know, there's something about it that like I would want is it White Scars?
White Scars
they always seem
are very cool.
They seem always so interested because they're go fast Mongolians. You know,
it's the tragedy of they are very cool, but in reality they don't have a lot of stuff.
So
they have like the Horus Heresy books, but that's kind of it.
So it's like one of those ones is they've developed the Space Wolves more, so we have this more idea.
Yeah, some legions just got more book time than others.
Got you.
And the Space Wolves are very important to the Horus Heresy because they are the ones who burn down Prospero, which basically kicks off the heresy.
Also, is the fist one you're thinking of the Imperial Fist?
Yeah, the Imperial Fist. I always get them and the Iron Warriors confused because they're basically the same thing.
But isn't there also a group known as the Iron Hands too?
Yeah, there's also the Iron Hands.
They got
led by Ferrus Manos. He's a man named Iron Hands who has iron hands, and his flagship is, I think, called the Iron Fist.
They just... They don't do good names.
Look,
I saw someone talking about this
sometimes
recently.
it's really good. Other times you get Angron, the angry Primarch.
He is named Angry. Or was it like Corvus, the crow guy?
Corvus Corax, which is just the scientific name for a raven.
He's just the Raven dude.
Dude, he's of the Raven Guard. What else are they gonna name him?
So yeah, that's one to check out. Cool.
Honestly, something I'd love from Wrath and Glory. We don't get. There's not a lot of it. I want more Xenos rules. But obviously, Wrath and Glory. If they're gonna do Xenos rules, they'd probably have to go into like a Rogue Trader game specifically.
Okay.
The Rogue Traders being allowed to work with Xenos versus other groups not really being allowed to.
So I just was looking at just the list of Space Marines to figure out which one you were talking about before. And, I see what you're talking about, how Lorgar is, the head of the word bearers.
Yep.
And his name is
Oh, Lord!
Lorgar,
I
yeah.
have missed that until just now.
Yeah.
And I've heard his name spoken in like videos.
He's
by, like, Bricky
arguably
and
the
stuff.
second most important guy.
Lorgar from the Word Bearers. My God, they're so bad.
Well, the Alpha Legion Primarchs. This is also a recent retcon. Are Alfarius and Omegon. Alfarius was the first Primarch found. Omegon was the last Primarch found.
Yep. I'm gonna say
they're
yep.
very creative over at Games Workshop.
Good work, Games Workshop. Thanks.
Very creative.
Thanks.
Space Wolves are cool. They're not my favorite, but I do like my Wolf Boys.
I'm in that kind of same boat.
My favorite personally is the word. It is unironically is the Word Bearers. They are actually my favorite Legion.
I'm not gonna lie. If I had to choose a favorite out of everything I've seen, because I haven't dove deep, I really go for the Salamanders. I like those guys.
They're cool.
Yeah.
The problem is their books
nice,
are just very boring.
Yeah. That's the problem is they're the only ones that I kind of.
They're a little boring, but they're cool. My actual favorite loyalist is the Dark Angels. I'm a big fan of Lionel Johnson.
Yeah.
I don't know if about any of them have a favorite.
Honestly, your life is better off without knowing.
It's so funny. I know so many random facts about 40K, but I know nothing substantial.
It's genuinely not a good setting. I say this as someone who loves the setting. It's very poorly made.
Yeah, I think that's the weird thing.
Because it's been being written consistently since the 80s, so it's not a very well held together setting.
Look, I enjoy my 9 daily small 1 minute kind of fact things that one channel does for sure.
I crashed out really hard listening to a podcast about War of the Beast. So
I'll stick to my 1 minute little lore fact. That are very interesting.
Spoilers for War of the Beast. The main character's name is Slaughter. He's just a dude. The villain's name is also named Slaughter.
Creative.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite 40K memes is the one where it's all and if you're interested to learn more about the 40K lore, good fucking luck.
Yeah, pretty much.
Look, I would just say, go watch Bricky's videos.
Honestly,
there you go.
This ridiculous.
You know enough.
The easiest 40K podcast to consume because they mostly just kind of joke about it. It's not going to be the deepest of lore, but it's the easiest to digest.
Yeah. So shall we talk about the old Gods of Appalachia? Which
good podcast.
We've talked about the old Gods of Appalachia,
yeah,
the TTRPG before,
yeah.
But apparently, I'm gonna put these 2 links here. They're getting a new book. All Your Gods Are Dead, which is a GM book.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah, they're getting they're basically their GM guide now that will be coming out at the end of November on the 26th. So that's pretty cool. I think we've talked about this setting a few times before, definitely.
Yeah, it's just spooky Appalachia.
Yeah, which adds...
It's a lot of Appalachian myths. As someone who lives and has grown up in this spooky ass place,
Yeah, on the
very
edge of it for
appreciative
me.
that it like gets the. It's having a resurgence in modern media.
Yeah. It's definitely one of those things that, like, me as, like, still close enough remembers a lot of the stories about this, but also, like, it was weird to be like, oh yeah, I kind of forgot about all this kind of crap, because it's like, it's, you know, it kind of disappeared from a lot of zeitgeist past the 90s, you know? For a
Yeah,
while there,
it was
so...
very prominent in like the 80s and 90s.
Yeah. The ideas of the haunted Appalachia. So it's
Which,
definitely
to be fair, it's like kind of real. You know, like the Appalachia has a weird feel to it when you're here.
Mm-hmm. It does have a lot of that old feel, because it is such like an old mountain range. It's so like, you know,
The woods just feel weird.
mm-hmm. Definitely, like, you know, being in central Pennsylvania, or like north central Pennsylvania, is a place to go to, because it's sort of like, I've been to a few states, into places that are very out there, and it's sort of so weird to feel sometimes, because it feels out there, but you just kind of like stumble onto it automatically. It's almost like, it's like, rather than like, oh, this place is just kind of empty, it's like, I step and it's empty. Like, northern New York is pretty empty, but you leave cities in New York and it's just kind of a lot of flat land at this point in time now, with a lot of farmland in northern New York. So it's like you transition to it in northern Pennsylvania, then towards the center of it, it's still just forest and like mountains and stuff like there. So you just stumble onto, like, I'm in the middle of nowhere now. Feels like sometimes. So it's kind of...
Yeah, no, like it's very real. Obviously, I live in Appalachia and have my entire life. I'm the furthest from like a believer in paranormal, but if I'm outside in like a wooded area and I hear some shit, I'm like, okay, I gotta leave. That's like a demon. That's a demon.
Mm-hmm. Demon or bear. In both cases, don't want to mess with
Yeah,
it.
no, it's something that wants to kill me.
Yeah. Granted, it is just a black bear, but even a black bear, it will probably kill you if it gets a chance. If you piss it off. And there are opportunities to do that. So yeah, it's fun that they're getting a DM guide, basically.
Yeah.
So
It's good. I've not seen the system, but I'm a big fan of the podcast.
I've looked into it a little bit, but haven't dove deep. Again, it's another one of those ones.
It's very good. It's very good spooky.
Yeah, there's more of a finger than the thing. Yeah. So, we have one more very nice little bit of news before we dive into the kind of messy news, and that is, of course, Spiel Essen, the big European tabletop convention, was at its height now. New attendance records. Yeah. Last time we looked into this, it was impressive how large it was to begin with, and with a new record, damn.
I said this last time we talked about a European convention. Germany is very quickly becoming the convention capital.
220,000 people visited the convention.
Mm-hmm.
It is a number that I just find insane in so many ways, because, like, yeah, I don't think I've been to a convention that goes anywhere near that, ever. The biggest conventions I've been to have maybe been, like, 20,000 people.
I don't even think our, like, biggest one for tabletop gets anywhere near that.
Yeah.
Which is, like, Gen Con.
So
I don't think Gen Con has even broken 100,000 yet.
I'm just let's see. Gen Con 2025 was 72,000. It was, yeah. So, largest convention in the U.S.
I assume the largest here. Well, it used to be E3, but that died. So it might be Summer Games Fest now.
Do they have a mascot?
Okay.
They have
So
a mascot.
if you would go to something like the Comic-Cons, they match close to this, which makes sense. Both the New York and San Diego ones tend to get up towards like that 200,000 mark.
Those are a whole like how different caliber of things.
Yeah. So it does seem there are some big shows, but they are like things like that, which are, you know, it's going to be insane. And this is like, yeah, this is just a tabletop convention. So it's still very
like
impressive.
super niche.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I do.
That's 20,000 more attendance than last year.
Yeah, I do like to have it now the largest simultaneous Cantan game, which apparently was 1,170 simultaneous players.
Nice.
That's just silly. And so this is a nice, neat event, and it just goes to show, like, yeah, as you're right.
Germany is very swiftly becoming the convention capital.
Yeah,
Especially
they were. I'm looking up their attendance records again. Yeah, it's so funny because they might have hit this in 2020 had not everything shut down because they were at like 209,000 people in 2019, and they were and in 2024 they were at 204,000. So it's all like, had 2020 actually not been a crapshoot, they might have actually hit these numbers already.
Yeah, it's kind of neat to think. Interesting thing.
I mean, talking about conventions, I mean, Gamescom just swept in and basically just replaced E3, so Germany's getting pretty popular for the old conventions.
So, I got 3 things here for our next topic, which is the law. We got some Diamond, we got Upper Deck, and we got tariffs. I'll tell you, which one do you guys want to hit first?
Ooh, let's probably get the tariffs out of the way, because
There's just
the worst
2 updates on it, because that might have some effects, and again, because it's affecting the tabletop community, is that the Senate has voted to repeal them, and the Supreme Court's going to be listening to cases to also repeal them.
We'll see if anyone listens to that.
I don't know if anyone will listen to either of them, but it's like, it's an interesting thing to see that those 2 things, those are the articles I found that talk about both of them.
We'll see if anyone listens or if it goes anywhere. I don't have high hopes for any of it to go anywhere.
It's a very unpopular, but we're talking about the person to put it down is basically putting his foot
day
down.
32 of the shutdown.
It's a mess. I guess we'll do Diamond next because it's a little simpler, which is just costing more money. Another 700,000 has been added to the fees going on. So this is becoming more and more of a mess on top of the 15 million it's already had, meaning this is becoming more difficult and difficult for them to go because they've been just racking up the legal fees extensively, which is a lot of legal fees, which when you're trying to declare bankruptcy doesn't feel like a great thing.
I feel like it's rapidly approaching the point where like the actual mainstream media is going to talk about this.
Yeah. The more that this goes, the worse it gets. So
I wouldn't be surprised if it's already been mentioned by mainstream media.
I also because I don't watch a lot of I assume a lot of it has possibly mentioned economic news stuff.
Yeah.
Since it's a bunch of businesses doing things.
So, yeah. And then finally, a little interesting thing here is apparently Upper Deck, the card company, had a case against Ravensburger, the people that do Disney's Lorcana, and this is interesting because apparently they settled in the U.S., but they're still going in Europe. So these are the 2 articles about it.
Yeah,
so
I think this has been going on for a bit.
I missed this up until now, so
I know it's definitely a weird one because I think the lawsuit is you had a designer who was under NDA to not make anything similar to our products, but I don't know any of the arguments. I just know it's been ongoing for a little bit.
Yeah, but
I think this is that lawsuit.
Yes, it seems like the settlement of the settlement in the U.S. has at least gotten rid of some things, but apparently they are still doing the lawsuit over in Europe because I guess they sued in both courts for they had jurisdiction in both of them, so that's it's an interesting thing to be doing. Because Ravensburger is in the Netherlands, so that's why.
Yeah, Ravensburger is a Dutch company.
Oh, so yeah, I mean, look, losing once, having to settle in the U.S. doesn't mark well for, let's say, the European case, but I guess
it's entirely possible they could win in Europe.
Yeah, that's the thing is I'm not sure.
Yeah,
it's law
in America. Disney's too powerful.
Yeah,
and I'm sure Disney was backing up Ravensburger because again, this is their TCG.
Yep.
So again, we'll have to see how this one goes. It seems to be these like one of these cases that I'm like, sure, I guess someone breached contact, but it just doesn't need to get this
Cool.
big.
Feel
Did
like
this need to get here?
there's
Like-
better ways to
like,
settle this. Also, they technically do have to do this to enforce their stuff.
I guess so. I don't know.
So they're but like what does Upper Deck make?
They made
Upper Deck,
the Rush of
they're
Ecor
like
card game,
Yeah,
so they do some card
they
games.
do a lot of trading card stuff.
Yes, I think they are like the big sports one, aren't they?
They are a really big sports one. They do Blizzard's stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
Blizzard still has a card game.
Yeah, they so they are definitely.
Oh, they're
Base-
also
yeah.
I see. I think they're also doing the new mythology based one that we talked about a while back.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's they have a lot of trading cards, and now they have gotten into some TCGs and stuff like too. It seems like, and
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, like the entire thing here is that.
Oh my gosh,
The-
there's like a Neopet. There's a Neopets TTR.
There is, yeah.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. When you look into the amount of TCGs that are actually out there, it's an insane number. There always
Oh, there's
has
so
been.
many.
Granted, I think it was the worst in the late '90s after Magic, and then it kind of died down around a little while. And then when things like Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon managed to gain it, we hit the 2010s. The surge came back because it's sort of like, oh, we can have a market. And guess what?
Yeah,
All
like-
those people that made those card games back in the 90s, they learned how to actually make card games. So they came back and actually made card games so they could actually compete. And
Yeah,
this
there
kind of
was
weird
a time where like everything got a trading card game.
a lot of them were bad.
Most of them were really terrible ripoffs of Magic the Gathering.
Or each other. I just did a video that I'll be putting out next week of a card game that's done by the same company that's basically kind of the same game as another one they did, except I don't know which one's derived from the other, because basically it's the same system, like little bit of details, which I'm like isn't necessarily a bad thing. Some people do that with like RPGs, like the 2D20 system, but like in a TCG market, I don't think it was a great idea. It's like one of that kind of thing. It's like you're kind of still competing against each other, especially in that early, late 90s market. But,
Or like every like big anime got a trading card game at one point.
yeah. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes in the European market. They might have more stronger case there. All right. So that's our news for today. Let's talk our deeper discussion topic, because we hit up for a little bit. And that was one that Worm had brought up, and I probably had on my list before I lost the list, crafting systems. So we've kind of talked about like more the side of like magic item, special item crafting. But a crafting system is more than just that when we talk about it, because it takes a lot of forms. This can be making simple weapons, armor, items for your game. It could be making alchemical stuff if you're like an alchemist or need potions and kind of stuff. It could be the magic items. It could also be like, honestly, a crafting system could pertain to things like vehicles and buildings, especially if your system uses that kind of things. If we're talking more sci-fi, certainly speaking, like vehicles and like ships are more important in that case, and you need some kind of system for building and maintaining those things. So the need of a crafting system does tend to be for a system, but I do think I kind of want to, like, in this introduction say, I do think most systems benefit for at least having some kind of crafting system. Would you agree on that one?
I actually don't agree.
Okay.
Because there are a lot of types of systems that are designed specifically for just like combat.
I guess
And
that's true.
crafting would slow that down quite a bit.
Okay.
I think-
Pathfinder is one such example.
Yes, because specifically I was going to bring up Pathfinder first edition's crafting rules,
Oh yeah. Oh, first edition.
where it takes like a year to craft something.
Pathfinder Second Edition isn't actually that different, because if you want to actually save money, which feels like the point of crafting, you have to take basically just as long.
Yeah, I think it's that thing of like, I think it's because the way a lot of stuff works in Pathfinder Second Edition is you can kind of adapt things a lot, as we've kind of talked about and had done in my game. You can
Yeah.
make a lot of potions and various alchemical things, and then when we talk about magic items, you tend to just move a lot of things around, and you can just do that.
Yes.
So it's sort of like that makes it a little easier. Just be like, oh, we're just gonna transfer some things to something I can use.
I wanna put it into perspective. To
gonna make a point.
craft a adamantine full plate in Pathfinder First Edition would take 2 years of game time.
Yeah. And if I remember correctly, it's about that. If not, it's a year to 2 years to make full plate in D&D.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is realistic. Of course, it does take a long time to make armor with the tools of time setting. However, it's not fun.
No.
Yes. And this is kind of where, when you get crafting systems, like I've thought a lot about this, you really have to draw that balance between because here's the thing, if you wanted to go with realistic, there's also a problem in that some things which would be very powerful would be very easy to make, and some things which wouldn't be great would be very hard to make.
Like, this is just how obviously the real world works. It is hard to make a sword. It's real easy to make a bomb.
Yeah. That's kind of like one of those things, is like different things have different processes that, you know, when you're talking about crafting them, that make it easier or harder. And that's an important thing to look about. And I think it's when we talk about benefit or not benefit, I think I will change what I said earlier. I think every system benefits from having the option of a crafting system if it works in the game you're running. Like, if you are running a Pathfinder 1E game where your characters may have years of time in between different adventures and stuff like that, there's a lot of like story things that do that. Yeah. Or even like maybe some months for certain items, you know, that could be made in between there, or commissioned or stuff like that. I can see there being a use for that existing then, but that is definitely not always. As you said, you made a really good point about that. Like, most of the time that's boring.
Most of the time it's not feasible to have a crafting system.
So, and here's the point I almost want to make. You should, as a GM, decide what you want to do with crafting. Do you want to make it so, those because basically, here's the point, like, how important is crafting to you as a GM and your players? That is basically, and your story. Like, if you're doing a fast-paced story and your players want to craft, you have to allow fast-paced crafting, even if the rules don't technically allow for that. And that's kind of the hard thing when it comes to crafting, is you have to actually, as a GM, know what you want from it.
I think it's also important when we talk about crafting is what you're getting out of it. Because I think the sheer fact is, in 99% of the time, if you're in a system, it's more convenient just to spend the extra money. No matter what system it is. From a Star Wars game, to a Shadowrun game, to a Pathfinder game. You know, to D&D, much easier. Just buy it, or find somewhere where you can buy it. You know, that might just be easier than crafting it, because the amount of time and effort and stuff like that. And it's sort of like, also, I think it's the level of crafting too, because I think that's important too. Because when we talk about crafting, we think about making something from scratch, but that's not just it too. Because I was thinking about this as we were talking here, and I'm like, that could just be, I customize a gun in Shadowrun. You know?
Yeah, I actually think sci-fi and modern settings lend themselves better to crafting than a medieval or Renaissance setting, because in those settings you have more advanced fabrication methods.
And maybe pre-made parts too. That help.
You have pre-made parts. You have machine tools.
So here's something I want to say when it comes to like something like Pathfinder and D&D. They are actually designed to make crafting a less easy path to go, because the whole idea is that like D&D and Pathfinder are designed to be games where you go out and adventure and loot dungeons. If the players could just sit back and make things, that is not what the game was designed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, thus encouraging something like that by making crafting easy wouldn't be good. Now, here's the thing: if you as a GM are trying to do a game where the players are in the wilderness and need to craft all their own goods, you don't want to make it take years to craft a sword, you know?
You want it to be easier.
Yeah. So you need to like adjust the rules if that's something you want to do.
Yeah. You've got to figure out where the rules work and where you need to flex them.
There are 2 adventure paths in Pathfinder 1e I can think of that do lend themselves to some crafting. Skull and Shackles, because you have a lot of time on a boat, and Kingmaker.
Yep. Because Kingmaker, you're building a kingdom, and that is there's a lot of time in that one too. Those are adventures that do have a lot of time in there. But the thing is also, like, I think the way we've kind of expressed it too is like, I gotta be honest, making your own, like, a lot of stuff that takes the most amount of time, you probably shouldn't be making anyway. Like a suit of plate mail. Like,
Absolutely.
I'm not gonna lie.
Go buy that from someone.
It takes so much less time to magically enchant something than it is to make it. The traditional enchantment time for Pathfinder 1e was a day per 1,000 gold pieces. Now, yes, if you're talking about incredibly high level things, that takes a long time. But usually, by that time, you're not doing it. But if I want to spend 5 days to make a thing that cost me 5,000 gold worth of magic, that's not too difficult. That's not 100 days. You know? Same with like alchemical stuff and potions and all these kind of things that are easy.
Funnily enough, with the way crafting works in Pathfinder 1e specifically, the ultimate, like, best blacksmith in the world would be a wizard.
True.
Because Fabricate exists, and that mechanically makes crafting checks easier.
Right.
Also, you want to know what's also really funny is in D&D 2nd edition, wizards actually make the best crafters as well.
Yep.
Or the best blacksmiths as well, because one, blacksmithing is an int-based check, and I forget, there's some other thing, like I ran into it kind of at random, and it was just all like there was some other reasons, and it wasn't quite because Fabricate kind of stuff, but it was like some other reason, like because they have I think it was very much because they have the ability to, like, they get more like skill points to invest in things related to the crafting. That's what it was. So it's like you can't, you know, because wizards get the most like proficiency points, basically.
Yeah, the way crafting works by raw in Pathfinder 1e is you only make 1 check per week. And that's the base rules. People have tried to make them better, they're still not good.
Yeah. I think when it comes to crafting in a lot of fantasy settings, I'm going to kind of lump all the fantasy settings together. I think as we kind of like have looked at here, it's not necessarily bad you have that system as an option, but you're really not going to look into that system. Unless it's for something small like consumables or simple magic items that...
Like potions. Or
potions, scrolls, you know, it's like, hey, I can make a scroll. It might cost me some money, but hey, now I have an extra spell just in case I need it for later on. Or maybe like a spell that I have in my spell book as a wizard that I don't normally cast, but I want to have that option just in case I need it. Like, oh, we don't do a lot of things with opening locks. Maybe I should make a knock scroll, because then I'm like, okay, I don't have to memorize this today. You know, we don't have to rest another 8 hours.
And this is actually where I think these kind of crafting systems actually become problematic, because, like, why would it take you like 2 months to enchant a scroll? You know, like, I feel like no one would use scrolls at that point.
I think that's why, like, at least in like, I don't know in D&D 5e, but I know in like all the Pathfinders, it's usually like, as I said, like it usually takes you like a day to make most scrolls.
Again, so like in Pathfinder 2e, I actually like kind of the way they did it, where it basically takes you 2 days, if as long as basically you're paying full price. So basically you're just shoving money into the item. You're basically just creating an item from parts at full cost. So it's not like you make any money. And even then they have the limit of half cost. I think so. It's like, you know, you can only, if you lower the cost, and your level basically determines how low you can get your level, and proficiency determine how low you can get the cost.
I have the 5e rules, which I don't believe exist in 2024 yet for crafting.
I think they do. They're just stupid simple.
Yeah, they're very simple. These are the Xanathar's ones. To craft a magic item, you can do it. But to craft a uncommon item is 1 work week. A common is 1 work week. Uncommon is 2 work weeks. Rare is 10 weeks. Very rare is 25 weeks. Legendary is 50 weeks.
Again, like when you get to like very rare legendary, I'm not gonna lie,
You're not crafting a legendary item.
No,
I would even argue you're not really crafting anything beyond very rare.
They do have them in the 2024 DMG. Magic item crafting time and cost: common 5 days, uncommon 10 days, rare 50 days, very rare 125 days, and legendary 250 days.
Much more reasonable. But again, you're probably not really going to craft anything above uncommon.
And it still costs a stupid amount of money.
I will also
you have the time for consumables like scrolls.
I will also make the important note is these are for items specifically, not consumables.
Yeah.
Consumables have their own set of rules.
So I think like there's definitely a really good place for having a crafting system in a fantasy game, but again, it tends to, as we kind of like looked at here, tends towards, you know, consumables and things like that.
And I will say I tend to dislike the crafting systems for consumables because I'm always someone who's like, make consumables to be used, not to be hoarded. And to do that, I feel like you need to make them readily available but less powerful. You know, like
I have to say that's one of those things that I think is a mindset that I've had to fight with from JRPGs. I you know, just saving it till I need it. Like, I've been getting better at that when I play games nowadays, but it took a long time to get to that point in time of, like, let's just use what we have. You know, because sort of like, I'm hoarding all my elixirs. I definitely will need them later.
See, I got around this problem in my game because I basically just gave my party Estus last for Dark Souls. You're just a healing potion that recharges.
Yeah, so I mean, for Skyrim, I never ever bothered with potions because that game doesn't need them. But well, except maybe magic potions.
Only if you're exploiting, you really need them.
Yeah. Oblivion, I actually always picked alchemy because I love the idea of making and using them.
I do love the alchemy system in Oblivion.
I do too. It's surprisingly good.
I could say a lot of things about Oblivion, but they did have a lot of good mini game systems.
Yeah, but as far as like other games go, I've always been someone who's like, I try to get myself to use them, but there are some games where it's just all like, I don't need them. You know, like that's kind of where I get, where it's all like, it's more trouble to go into my inventory and use them than just to try again. You know, some games are like that.
I think the other thing I kind of say about this, to move on from fantasy settings, is fantasy settings tend to have magic. Magic should cheat the shit out of this stuff. I'm not going to lie.
Absolutely.
Yep.
As you said, wizard with fabricate.
Dude, a wizard's like the best crafter in the universe.
So, I think then we kind of hinted on like modern / sci-fi settings, because I think that's where the idea of crafting really begins to shine in a lot of that entire ideas of like customization. And here's the thing, like there are systems that just don't have great crafting rules. I'm going to say like, I'm going to point out and be like World of Darkness. It doesn't really have that.
Absolutely.
Chronicles of Darknesses isn't horrible.
Okay. Like, World talks about it, but like at most it's sort of like it has rules for like crafting things related to whatever you are supernaturally. Like, oh, I have a werewolf like talisman. I can make one of those. Cool, you know. But it has a process behind it. Or you know.
So yeah, like Chronicles of Darkness, if I recall correctly, has basically almost 2 separate crafting systems, depending on if you're trying to make something like stable from scratch or you're trying to jury rig something. So basically it's all like, you want to make a nailed baseball bat, you can do that in like 2 minutes, but if you want to make like a sword, it'll take you a while, you know. It's like, and they might even do the same damage, it's just kind of like the other one might break faster or something.
Yeah. It made me think a lot more about it, because again, this is, at least I encountered a lot more in Shadowrun, but I also did a little bit in, I don't remember which version of Cyberpunk it was. It was early 2000s. We were doing one of the versions of Cyberpunk for a little while.
Yeah, there's a thing in those.
There were customization rules for a lot of guns and like hacking stuff. You could make your own magic kind of tools if you're talking Shadowrun. There was a lot more. You customize vehicles. You know, there was a lot more checks for that had rules built in. And yes, those systems tended to be a little bit complex. I talk about how like Shadowrun can be pretty complex, but that stuff exists in 5e. 5e is not bad.
One of the important things to note specifically about Cyberpunk is they have an entire skill category for crafting. Technique skills or crafting skills. And they are usually worth putting some points into, because first aid in Cyberpunk is technically considered a crafting skill.
Makes sense.
Because you can craft medicine with it.
Yeah.
As far as medic, if you're going to have a crafting system, you kind of need to be like, here's crafting skill, and then we're just going to use that to simplify it.
Yes. And I think it really depends on how robust, like if you're designing a system, it really depends on how robust you want to make it. Like Pathfinder, for example, basically says you want to actually be someone who crafts things every day on the fly, pick Inventor or Alchemist, you know? There are classes where you can actually do stuff with your crafting. Otherwise it's going to be difficult. And it's a way to limit kind of the game to like, either you make you feel like a crafter, but if you actually want to like craft to break the game, it's going to be hard. But then you've got like games that have like full crafting skills and stuff. Like the more in depth you make your crafting, well, basically you have to integrate your crafting system into your game if you want a robust one. It can't be a tack on.
I just want to say how much I love Cyberpunk, because there are some skills in here that are really funny. Personal grooming is a skill. So is wardrobe and style.
It's one of those things, is I forgot all about those. It's like, I like it, but it's a little too silly. I think that's like the difference. It's another one of those reasons I did turn towards Shadowrun more than Cyberpunk, having played both of them.
Cyberpunk is the sillier version of the Cyberpunk genre.
Yeah, because it's sort of like, it's just a little bit sillier, and I do
it's
like
all
the
punk rock, heavy metal.
I do like the magic version, but it's sillier.
As someone who's run sci-fi type games, though, you do have another issue as on the player side that you have to worry about, and that is your players trying to set up factory lines for things they want to use a lot.
I think something like a setting that almost requires crafting narratively is, I think, Star Wars in a weird way. Because there are parts of the lore that are very important. Like if you have a Jedi character, there's a point where they, lore-wise, have to craft a lightsaber.
Yeah. It's they have to craft and maintain their own lightsaber and stuff like that too. And I feel like just taking a step back, there's a thing that I don't think we really talked about, is sort of like, the more into the future, the more your characters have to be a jack of all trades to make sense in that world. Because you have to think about, like, in a modern day, what kind of skills would we probably are more skilled than a lot of people back in the day. Now I'm saying, like, they might be better at those skills because they trained up, but we have a lot more variety of skills. Like, I know how to drive a car, I know how to do some basic things on a computer. There's a lot of little things that I can do. Granted, there are things that I don't know how to do, but like, I have a much more broader of, I need to understand a lot of the things for doing them.
Well, I also want to make a point that, like, back, like, in the, medieval period or whatever, they actually had a plethora of skills as well. They knew how to, clean a horse. They knew how to, plow a field. They knew how to, they know how to, like, make beer. They know how to make, light a fire. There's stuff that they know that we don't.
Well, true. But I think it's reflected in a different way when it comes to talking about it in RPGs. Like, a lot of times, those are groups of skills. that are put together into one, where they're a lot
Yep.
more individual when you get into modern day, which is a weird thing sometimes too, you know?
It also depends on what modern era, I feel like.
Mhm.
Because at a certain point when you set a game, very much like real life, if you need to fix something, we have a little rectangle device with all the knowledge of humanity in it. You can just Google how to do that shit.
Yep.
That's how I fix my car all the time. Like, all right, how do I fix this?
Mhm.
All right, I'll watch a YouTube video on it.
It definitely
Yeah,
is a very easy thing nowadays with that one.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, like in Traveler, like having a good computer skill can actually give you like bonuses to other skills, um, because effectively you're just googling.
I'm just looking that shit up.
Like you basically have to make a computer's roll before you make like the other roll, but it's
Yeah.
there's a way to do that.
It also comes down to like there are definitely some systems here that like when we talk sci-fi, Star Trek. It's not terrible to have crafting, but you're probably not making a lot because the computer's going to make most of it for you.
Also, the thing about Star Trek is you're meant to be playing like the A team, the officers. You got people to do this stuff for you.
Yeah, or like,
but also like jury rigging, like is a very important part of Star Trek. Like oh, I set this I reset this phaser to be on this wavelength to pass through this guy's shield.
And then in the next episode, that actually doesn't work like they said it does anymore. And then in 3 episodes later, it works like they said it did again.
Yeah. But again, like that comes down to it is a form of crafting, that jury rigging, but it's not like the same kind of thing. It's like I craft something quick and dirty to solve a problem, which isn't bad, but it means that it's not a robust system because all the robust kind of crafting you would do
like,
is handled.
I think crafting works well in like especially in something like a grittier sci-fi, like an Alien or a post-apocalyptic sci-fi. I think crafting can work quite well. I mean, hell, like in Alien, we see several examples of jury rigging crafting where she tapes an assault rifle and a flamethrower together and it works.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's not like a very crazy thing, but it's still something she learned to do.
Yeah, and this is where I think it's very important to like basically be as a GM, like how much do I want players to craft? And I'm gonna be honest, like if you want a crafty heavy like let's say Pathfinder game, I wouldn't use the default rules.
No, you need to make your own because otherwise your players are gonna be doing nothing.
Yep.
For years at a time.
Yeah.
And I think
there's a reason blacksmiths aren't out killing goblins.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think it comes down to you have to understand when there is a good time to have crafting, when like how it's kind of used all in there too. Like you understand in the medieval setting what you have to craft, and you'll have to make it like work for that setting. In the future setting, you have to understand and have to work for that. When you're in the modern setting, you have to understand what kind of things you'd be making here now.
Again, I think it's less about setting and more about theme. Like again, you can basically have a high magic fantasy thing where people can just conjure a sword. It's like blacksmiths become obsolete. Or a future setting where you have to craft everything, or a sci-fi setting where everything's made so people don't know how to craft.
Look, you could just be Lord of the Rings, where the best sword was made 10,000 years ago, and no one's ever figured out how to fix that idea and make it better.
Yeah, so and actually that's a big thing in D&D. Actually, is the post-apocalyptic idea, and that is that like most of the best stuff we don't know how to make anymore because it was before the apocalypse.
Yeah, I think that's where something like, I guess, like if you're talking like about like Fallout or something, yeah, there's not a lot of making stuff in Fallout. You do a little bit jury rig maybe.
There kind of is.
Fallout actually,
depending on the game, because in Fallout 2 you can fix and maintain a car.
I feel like modding something I thought was more like like the kind of Shadowrun modding something, but like the directly making.
I want to make a point of Fallout 4, but anyway.
Well, yeah, Fallout 4's whole gimmick is kind of crafting.
But my point about like for more modern or futuristic setting, or even like past future setting like Fallout is, where that does make sense. I'm talking about like D&D is supposed to be apocalyptic. Galarian is an apocalypse, post-apocalyptic.
That's
Yeah,
true.
Faerun's exploded like
Faerun-
6 times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Faerun's post-apocalyptic. So the idea is that the reason there's all this good stuff in tombs all around is because they made good stuff in the past, and we haven't been able to get back to that point yet.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, you know, it's an interesting idea that there is like some return to that in some of these fantasy worlds, but like there are things that are lost that they haven't been able to reclaim. I do think that's like, I never looked at it quite that way, but you know, it's like as soon as you say that, I'm like, yeah, like, you know, that's a very good direction to kind of think of it almost as it, you know. You know, that's why there's these great ancient tombs that are here with from the old civilizations.
Yeah, I mean,
because
Pathfinder has fucking laser guns in it.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, like I'll say with Pathfinder though too, you know, it's like, yeah, you know, maybe you're finding a version of a magic item you already had, but there's that chance you might find one that someone had invented, someone hasn't reinvented. You know, like, yeah, okay, magic sword based things, they've come back, but there's like little unique, like, oh, this does this thing or this does this thing that's probably gone, and I think that's where the interest is like, you know, I think it's like, it's.
I mean, talking about like that, I mean, it can even get very unique. Like that was kind of almost we found out at the end of the Crimson Queen, where it's just all like, oh, she was using this crazy ritual-based magic item to like try and make herself immortal. You know?
Yeah, it's something
mean,
that like it really was something that like it actually was the thing that the
Made
Rune
by the
Lords,
Thessalonians.
the Rune Lords used to make themselves immortal.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So it's
I mean,
interesting. Yeah.
Even on a smaller scale, in Skull and Shackles, we went into a ruin and I got a cybernetic leg to replace my shitty wooden prosthetic.
Yeah. You know.
Yeah. So yes. So like again, it just depends, and that's kind of my big thing with crafting is it really depends. And as a GM, you really do have to think about it. If a player wants to craft, you really have to think about where it goes in your game.
You also gotta think, and this is another Pathfinder one, a balance.
Yeah.
This is the big reason why I don't allow crafting magic items.
Yeah.
Honestly, and that's a big thing too, is that like generally there is a reason why it's super hard to do, because it is
Can upset the balance very easily. Because when you craft in Pathfinder, it's half value or less.
So yeah, it makes it very difficult to kind of balance that out a lot of times. And I think also like balance is one of those big things about it. And like I was gonna go a similar direction to it, but I'm trying to remember it. And like does it reasonably make sense in the system you're building it into, the kind of crafting that's being done? Like building very powerful magic items, that kind of can unbalance things, especially as I said, it's half price, especially in there. Like I can see like, okay, making a couple of like low level magic items not going to hurt too much. Okay, great. It's the same difference between like, okay, tuning up a gun in Shadowrun, it can give you a little bit of bonuses, but that's one of those ones where I'm like, it's probably not going to break the game, because like getting to those like really high, it's very difficult to make, you know, tune it to such a way that it's insanely powerful. You know, it requires a massive amount of skill your players either have to work their way towards, or they don't have that, you know. And it can be kind of the same way of like, you know, that's a balancing factor in it, and you have to figure out where that balance is and like how well it is. You know, maybe your characters can't find what they need. They may not find the components to a magic item or the parts to a weapon, you know, to tune it the way they want. So they have to kind of settle for something.
Speaking of that, I actually think you know, you want to encourage players to actually like do things, which is why honestly one of the best magic item crafting systems you could do is part-based crafting, where it's like, okay, you want to make this magic sword that does fire? Well, you have to go kill this demon over here to get its you know, spleen. And then you can make your fire sword with it. And that generates plot and moves things forward. I actually think this is something that I think is very overlooked in D&D, in their crafting systems, that they really could do, where it's just like, in fact, I think if I recall correctly, Xanathar's guide did have a whole section about like, oh, this level item requires a part from like this, this tier of item, or like, common items require parts from, CR 1/2 to CR 2, and so it's like you can actually get parts for your items. I saw that somewhere. I don't know if it was Xanathar's guide or something else, but like, I actually think that's a great way of like making things move forward. Where it's like, okay, and even Ald, the Saturday game that I do just before this, he has a whole thing where it's all like, tell me what you want to craft. Design, like, tell me what you think you want the crafting thing to be, and give me a list of ingredients you think might work. I'll pass it off, and then I'll give you opportunities to get those things. So it's like, it's very much like, we can make our magic items in his 2e game. He just wants us to like get parts for it, like, it needs this special ingredient, it needs this spell that we need to find, it needs this, etc.
Yeah. It's a direction that like you have to find that kind of balance. But again, it comes back to that balance between everything. Like, and it comes back to like, this works in anything. Like, I'm making a, supernatural item in World of Darkness. Maybe I have to find some pieces for that, and that's part of the quest I go on. I need a part in Shadowrun. Yeah. Hey, maybe while we're breaking into that guy's company over there, I can steal some extra stuff, which helps me tune up my gun even more that I'm working on, or get like a part for my vehicle or something like that, or maybe steal an extra program to make my hacking even better. Stuff like that. That's kind of like on the side that your characters have to get into. That, like, either like, oh, I want to tune up this program, I need a basis for it. There's a lot of little ways that you can kind of add to that to make the crafting system in there being something. And
I think it's very important as GM to understand that if like a player wants to craft, but you don't want your like a crafting system to be overwhelming, you could literally tie it into like playing the game, and that's a way to basically drive the plot. So and so you can reward players with things to craft, and then they feel like they made it themselves, even though you're basically just replacing a magic drop with a magic, component.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. You can make the dire owl bear defending a sword, or you can make it eyeball be the thing to craft like the magic item they want.
Yep. It's balancing in a lot of ways that way, and figuring out how that balances very well. It can be a challenge. I'm not going to lie. I think that's the thing too.
Yep.
But like,
players want to break the game with crafting. That's actually why a lot of min-maxers are drawn to crafting, because most crafting systems can be easily broken, which is why you have to watch it carefully.
Yes. And
know what you want out of crafting in your game.
Yeah. And again, like, it depends on the game when sometimes this is a lot more appropriate or not too. And I think that's just the kind of thing you just keep all this in mind. I think you kind of ask when you're running the game, is crafting appropriate here to start out with? That's a very good question to kind of ask. And it's probably in most games something you should at least keep in mind a little bit, I think, because again, that can boil down to crafting simple magic items in something like Pathfinder, like simple like, potions or scrolls, or it could be something as complex as making a magic item, or it could be something as complex in like, a futuristic game of like, I'm going to customize my own car. That could be modern day, that could be futuristic, building a new engine for your spaceship, things like that. These are thoughts.
The reason crafting tends not to be as big of a deal in future settings, I'm like thinking on it, is because in general, the limitation for future settings is money, no matter what. And if you need to buy the parts, or you need to craft it, or you need to buy the weapon, or you need to buy the parts to craft it, no matter what, you're limited by money. I mean, in general, for a sci-fi setting, there's no reason that a +3, sword isn't just available from the start, other than cost. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm thinking more Starfinder, but it's like, because again, it's a setting where almost anything can be available. So that's why you tend to have more crafting systems in sci-fi games as well, is just because it's less important.
Yeah. As you move into more modern or futuristic settings, it tends to be that way. But basically, I think you have to consider crafting as part of any system you run if it's post the, I'll say like Industrial Revolution. You think that would be kind of a good point in time to kind of put it as? Because then a lot of like more manufactured, more built things start to exist in a lot of ways.
Yeah. I mean, I think it still depends very heavily on what you, as a GM, want out of your game.
Sure.
And honestly, I feel like also just, watch your players carefully when they're making builds, because a lot of games do have crafting systems, and it's all like, well, I see you picked up a lot of crafting abilities, but I'm not sure you'll like where it goes in our game, so you might want to I'll let you make some changes,
Yeah.
Because it's not what I intended, So it's just, you got to be careful but as far as crafting systems go, don't be afraid to also tack on other systems, crafting systems, because 9 times out of 10 they still work.
Yeah. Very true.
So if you like another crafting system that fits better for your game, use that. That's actually one thing I love about being someone who loves to read a whole bunch of random different systems. Crafting, I've seen a lot of crafting systems, and some are better than many. Well, yeah, there are a lot of good. There's good, bad, and ugly.
Yep. So. All right. I think that's a good point for crafting system. Unless either of you want to add something, I think we kind of hit up on everything about it.
I think we're good.
Yeah.
The Tinker Gnome crafting system from AD&D 1E is very weird. That's honestly what made me think about it, is because like my Ald was like, oh yeah, we're doing a Tinker Gnome craft. Like he gave me like a rule book from 1E to use in his 2E game for like Tinker Gnome crafting. It's weird. I actually kind of like it. It's actually a unique twist, but man, is it like, it's both easily broken and hard to break at the same time, where it's all like some simple things are like way too high of a complexity, and then easy things or hard, like some powerful things can be done really easily. So it's just kind of like, not the best, but I'll work with it. In the end, I'll ask to pass off all my weird tinkering anyway. Tinker Gnomes.
Tinker Gnomes. Right. So let's talk about our week in gaming. So we had Joe's game on Sunday. So
yes, we did.
So we had that, and we begun to explore a dungeon. We got down to the dungeon.
Yep. Basically, we assaulted the people on the outside. It's a partially underwater dungeon.
Yeah.
I don't know why he made it partially underwater. He should have just made it underwater. It's at the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah,
so...
it's whatever.
I feel like things like Fireball are already going to be limited because people are standing in water. And we already have things that allow us to breathe in water, and we already invested in tools to allow us to move in water. I don't know why he made it like half water.
It's fine. It's an interesting dungeon. It's like we're getting towards the climax series, so it'll be fine.
Yep.
We didn't do anything till Wednesday. What did you do in the first half of the week, Momo?
I had my game where I had a session planned, but I swapped it out for a spookier session because it was close to Halloween. Basically, they went to the dwarves to get help to deal with the encroaching undead force. The dwarves are like, yo, we'll help you, but we have a ghost problem in our mountains. Spirits have been coming out of this cave. Go deal with it. Party went to go deal with it, and they found themselves in basically the Underdark, where they had to go and cleanse a defiled temple of the Drow god. So they just fought a bunch of ghosts that session. Really cool moment where Lightning walked up to a Wraith and in a single turn brought it to 1 HP.
Nice.
So very good for them. Very bad for the Wraith.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. Joe was like very confused because like we actually kind of destroyed.
I don't get sad when my players because it's just dice rolls. So it's like whatever. I don't care.
We
Beat up my monsters. I'll add more in another room.
Well, it's like
Yep.
it was kind of the opposite. It was like I didn't want the things to murder you, and they started murdering you in my game.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. And then
So-
in Joe's game, if you remember, we kind of destroyed the monsters accidentally, where it's like
Yeah.
because they rolled terrible on initiative, and then we just bombed them from the get-go.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
But
So
Yep.
the session ended with them finding a soul stone, which will play into their quest to find the elven weapon that they're racing the big bad for.
Cool.
And Tuesday we had our Pathfinder game where we are doing Hell's Rebels. We continued our dungeon where we encountered some priests of a devil whose name I forgot. And then the sorcerer went first and blinded them all with the glitter dust. So the combat lasted 1 round. And then deeper in the dungeon, we set off a trap and fought some weird bug monster that was like 2 CR higher than us, which the sorcerer proceeded to blind, and the combat ended in 1 round.
Yep.
Yep.
What level are you guys?
We're level 6.
Mhm.
We just
Okay.
hit level 6.
so
You're not quite at the point where things become very randomly balanced.
So it's just been really funny. We have not had what I would call a real combat encounter because for the first 4 levels, every encounter was ended by the sleep spell, and now everything's being ended by blindness, deafness, or a glitter bomb.
Oh,
Yay, control casters!
yep.
Which is very funny. The main villain of the first book didn't land a single hit in her fight. The lemur she summoned that only dealt 3 damage did more than her.
Yep.
It just be that way in Pathfinder sometimes.
It really be.
yeah, it does.
It's just dice rolls. Be that way.
Dice rolls can be mean.
Yeah,
Speaking
we're
of
like
mean dice
exploring
rolls- oh no.
We're like exploring a Thieves Guild thing to make our new base or something. I don't really remember why we were there because we had to take a week break because Cell was sick, so I don't really remember what the hell we're doing down there.
Okay.
I assume we're getting a new base because our old base is currently inaccessible because
Gotcha.
half the city's on lockdown due to the plot.
Okay. Yeah, I can kind of say like my game went interesting. So
Yeah, so speaking of crazy dice rolls, Tantus crit
Oh, did
almost
you
every round.
send 6 wargs at the
no,
party?
so the idea was I wanted something that was like a mini boss fight. So I went for something that because they're level 9 now.
It's a high
yes.
level.
Yeah. I sent a CR10 monster, which would have been a standard fight, and then I sent a CR9 version of the same monster. They were 2 T-Rexes, which they should have been able to fight, and it would have been a little difficult. It turned out a lot difficult. Basically, they
Yeah.
kept critting and making their saves.
They crit literally at least once every round.
It just be that way sometimes.
And a lot of these crits were like on different things, so they were like either not taking damage. There was 2 damaging crits with their bites, which were deadly. So they did like 70 damage.
Like truly, when this happens, there's nothing you can do as a DM.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
well,
And-
sorry, I guess.
Sorry, these things have
Yep.
become super murderers. I didn't intend that to
Yeah.
happen. It just happened.
I'm so glad we had Talus though. Talus was a tank,
I'm
and
glad
he's
my-
basically the reason we survived.
I'm glad my husk is continuing to benefit the party.
Your NPC
Talus
husk
got
absorbs
swallowed
all the damage.
twice.
Yes, and crawled the way
I
out
know,
of it.
that's what he was like built for. To be fair,
Just he kept trying to eat him, and he like crawl and fight his way out. He's like, no. It was,
and he used his orc ferocity for
Yeah.
once.
nice.
it was definitely an insane part of the adventure. I kind of have to say. So,
Mhm.
man, yep. So, I think it was fun.
Yeah,
but
it was
it's
it was
crazy.
it was fun. It was fun. It was really tough. A lot, and I reckoned it a lot tougher than it needed to be, than it should have been. But it was still fun.
Oh yeah, I did
We
remember
used
something.
a ton of
I
resources.
did remember something about the Pathfinder game. So 2 of us have animal companions. in the game. I chose a dog, which is fairly normal. Ignore the fact that it's a human-sized dog with the power of God.
Yeah, definitely.
Lighting picked an elk.
Okay.
So every time we go into a dungeon, we just have an elk with us. But we went to we found a secret door, which we made the elk roll to open, which it was able to do. And beyond that door was the priest boss fight. So what those characters saw was a secret door open and then just an elk walk in the room. It's a very goofy
Yeah.
game.
Random elk.
Honestly, I feel like Pathfinder 1E ends that way a lot.
Pathfinder gets goofy and it's kind of better for it.
Yeah. I do think I like that. There's a level of you never get rid of that level of goofiness.
Yeah, we've got a normal human sorcerer. We got an elf ranger. I'm a human paladin, and then Joe is a hobgoblin alchemist. So we just got this little guy with us throwing grenades at everyone.
No, if it's a hobgoblin, then he's not that small.
Well, hobgoblins in Pathfinder are actually like 4 foot tall.
Yeah, they're medium,
really?
but they're not.
They're on
that-
like the lower end of medium.
Yeah, they're like dwarfs.
Actually, quite short, which surprised me. I
know
thought
that.
they were tall. So we just
They-
got this little guy with us.
They might have made them bigger in second edition because they
Yeah,
standardized.
in 1E, they're not super tall.
Yeah.
But Joe has embraced Tanglefoot bombs, much to everyone's pain and suffering, because Joe keeps missing with them and entangling us.
Yeah.
Joe entangled my dog. Bro, you gooed my dog. Why?
Now,
They max out at 4 foot. They max out at 5'6".
Yeah, they're quite short.
yeah.
Shockingly,
I'm
'cause I think in 5e, I think in like D&D they're tall.
I think they're
Yes.
a little bigger in in the remaster, second edition remaster, just because they're kind of like standardized as medium because they don't really talk about height. They're medium sized, but like I don't know. I don't know exact height. I'm trying to like look it up quickly because they're not like short, but like if you would say like a hobgoblin is like on average around 5 foot and a human's around 1 foot, that's a big difference, and that's kind of like where it is.
Yeah.
Where human might be
Hobgoblin
5.5 and hobgoblins.
Hobgoblin and 2 are actually stated. I'm just looking at this right now. Hobgoblins are equal in strength and size to humans.
Okay, so they're a
And
little
a
taller.
little bit bigger.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
could probably say if you're using a little bit of the old lore, they're a little shorter on average, but they're around the same size of them at least.
Yeah, they got bigger after the Whispering Tyrant blew up part of the world or whatever the hell happened.
They got a little bit more goblin-y too.
After he got banished to that island because they didn't actually kill him because the canon ending isn't allowed to be fun.
Yeah. No, they just drove him to an island, and now like the orcs are making a nation because they're like, you know what? We don't want to be conquered, and the hobgoblins are making a nation because they're like, well, we wanted one.
We tried that once.
It went. No, learning about all the different hobgoblin nations is so interesting because there's like 2 that are really kind of militant and one that's like, we're just good guys. Don't worry about us. They like channel all that like militant nature of the hobgoblins like productive ways rather than like aggressive ways, and it's sort of like interesting, funny. I didn't do anything else tabletop related for the rest of the week. Did either of you do anything else on? I guess you had yours today.
Fun.
Gabe.
Yeah. If you had something before then.
No, I just played like Stellaris and Magic. It's not really that important to talk about.
Yeah.
Yep. I had my game today. We finally made it to tier. Solus met up with his family. And then they kind of tasked us with going they're like, oh, hey, there's a thing that we might want to do. Or that is having problems for us. And we're like, we can help. And so we went to some dwarven city whose caravan was disappearing. And then we did this whole thing where we discussed them about like what's going on, and they led us to the caravan. And the caravan was a train Which then made us all go like, oh, so that's why everyone's so freaked out that this thing is vanishing. Because the whole caravan was vanishing without a trace. And
Makes
it's a
sense.
whole train
Yeah.
on rails that's just disappearing.
That makes sense then. Where'd our train go?
So
We needed that.
yeah, it's just a lot of discussion and talking with people and doing stuff. So
Cool. All right. Well, I think that's a good place to leave it off there because we got through all of our stuff. That was a good week in gaming. So thank you to two of you for joining me again. I'll throw it over to, of course, Worm, because you usually have your shout out to Grant.
yeah, I'm DiamondWyrm. You can find me on twitch.tv/DiamondWyrm or at DiamondWyrm on Twitter and Blue Sky and DiamondWyrm9234 on YouTube. Next stream should be tomorrow at Sunday at 10:30 a.m. PDT.
And Momo, do you have anything to shout out or another quiet?
I will shout out crashing out to bad media because sometimes it's cathartic.
True.
It is.
Myself, hi, that's Dracovin. I hope you're enjoying things over on the channel here. Make sure to check me out. I'll be back on Tuesday. I will be hopefully finishing up my BioRand RE2 original randomizer that I've been playing through. I went for a little bit more difficult settings than the last time I went through. It is proving to be a little bit of a challenge, which is fun. So making my way through it. So hopefully check that out. And we'll do some more Silksong next week. Got more tabletop, and we'll be adding some more things on the schedule for next month. So expect those to come. All right, everybody. Have a great rest of your day, and see you next time. So we say goodbye for
Bye.
now.
Bye.